This is a mess. It's bedlam. It's somebody else created it, and you're there to deal with it the best you can, and you're going to make decisions, and some of them are going to be right and some of them are going to be wrong, but you just got to go with the best that you can. One of the questions that always comes up whenever I teach this, or it always did until I started bringing it up, is what about carrying firearms in the church? What about a concealed carry? Whether or not your church allows people to carry firearms is not something I'm going to tell you the answer to. I'm going to give you some pros and cons. I'm going to tell you some situations where it would be helpful and some situations where it wouldn't be, and I'm going to leave it to you folks to figure out what you want to do. About 2 years ago, the FBI Academy came out with an estimate that 70 to 80% of bullets fired by law enforcement officers miss their target. 70 to 80% of bullets fired by law enforcement. Now, they spend an awful lot of time teaching police officers how to shoot and when to shoot. They spend a lot of time. And yet, 7 or 8 out of 10 miss their target. So, if this is going to happen, 7 or 8 out of 10 law enforcement bullets miss their target, how much more likely is it going to be for a concealed carry permit holder that's had 8 hours of safety training? I mean, that's got to go way up. It's got to go way up. So there are even the law enforcement percentage here. Having that many loose rounds flying through a sanctuary full of people is just not workable. There's just too much lead flying there. And so in most cases, with a crowded sanctuary, the firearm is not going to be your answer. Now, there's times when it is. This shooting that we had in Charleston, South Carolina, where it was in like a Bible study room, and there were a total of 13 people there counting the shooter, that just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. Incredible amount of ammunition being put into 9 bodies. I wish any grandma that had never fired a pistol in her life had something to shoot at that guy that day. Somebody might have lived if anybody had a gun that day. But it wasn't a crowded room. And it was getting less crowded with more people that were falling over dying. So, is there a place for firearms in the defense of a church? Yeah, there is. Is there a place where you having a firearm may add to the danger? Yeah, there is. Let me sort of lay out another scenario for you. This guy's in here with a gun, and he's here to kill people. That's his goal. He's here to kill people. You're not here to kill people. You're here to try to keep people from being killed if it becomes something like this. So let's say that you're in here, the sanctuary's crowded, and you have your concealed carry pistol on you, and he's got a rifle or a pistol or whatever he's got that he's carrying, and he's just shooting people around, and he looks back and he sees there you are with your pistol drawn, and these are toys, by the way. These are toys, and this is actually a broken toy. So the trigger won't even pull. So you're looking for a way. You want to shoot this guy. And so, but there's kids running, and there's parents running, and there's people behind him and people in front of him, and you're trying to wait until you got some kind of a clear sight. He don't care whether there's people over here or not. So while you're up here waiting for an opportunity to pull the trigger without killing somebody else, he spots you and he shoots you while you're waiting because he don't care. He's here to kill people. They've spent an awful lot of time. The state of West Virginia spent a lot of time teaching these two guys and me when it was legal to shoot, when it's necessary to shoot. In this crowd, in this building, is it safe to shoot? Is my shooting going to increase or decrease the danger? They've spent a lot of time teaching us those things, and we still don't always get it right. Police officers don't always get it right. They try. They spend a lot of time training. A lot of money is spent on this training, and they still don't always get it right. So doesn't it seem kind of likely that without the benefit of all of that training, you're not always going to get it right either? But man, you hit some kid when you're trying to stop this shooter. You can't take this back. And when you pull the trigger of a gun, you own that bullet till it stops. It's a big responsibility. Okay, if somebody comes into the church brandishing a firearm, do we have to assume that he intends to use it? Now, I'm not going to look up and see whether you're nodding your head yes or no because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but my guess is that there's some of you thinking, yep, we got to assume he intends to use it. The truth of the matter is we can't assume anything because he doesn't always intend to use it. Sometimes he intends to kill as many people as he can. I'm using the word he. The truth is, everything I researched was a he. Now, there have been a few female shooters in churches, but none of them I ran across. I mean, I heard, I think it was something maybe I read in something Carl Shen had, but every single case I ran across, the shooter was male. But anyway, I'm not trying to leave you ladies out. If you get jealous because I'm not referring to you as murderers, sorry about that. But the objective might be to kill as many people as possible. The objective might be to kill his ex-wife, and that's the only one. The objective might be to kill his ex-wife and the pastor that's been counseling with her. His objective might be to just get attention. He doesn't want to kill anybody, but he wants somebody to listen to him. And if he walks into your church with a gun, somebody's going to pay attention to him. Maybe not planning on killing anybody. And it might be that his intention is undecided. There might not be anything rational about this. So we can't assume anything. Somebody comes into your church with a gun, you can't assume that this guy is going to kill people. Now, why is that important? Because if this person isn't going to kill anybody, if he isn't going to fire this gun, and you make a decision to attack him, you have just started something that might not have started otherwise. You've made a decision that may have been a good one, and it may have saved lives if he was going to kill people, and it may have cost lives if he wasn't going to kill people. But it's a decision you might have to make, a call that you might have to make based on very little information. If this was a guy, and not very long ago, North Carolina, I think it was, a guy come into a church with a gun, the pastor talked him out of it, prayed with him. Nobody's hurt. First guy to get there is going to get a hold of the gun or the hands that's holding the gun and get it pointed in a safe direction. Rick, Woodard, do you care to volunteer here for me? I'm picking somebody that's a lot bigger than me on purpose. You can be the bad guy. So if we make a decision that we're going to do this, hold the gun as if you were getting ready to fire. Okay, I want to get it down to where it's not going to hit anything, and I don't like it here because Ricochet is still working here, so I'm going to try to get him turned around if I can. Somebody else by this time needs to be standing up and helping me. So somebody else come on up and jump in on this here with me. Okay, so somebody else. Second person's going to help me hold the gun. Second person comes up, never approach from this front, come around the other side. Never approach from the direction the gun is pointing. We're going to hold the gun. Okay, this is all we care about. Now Rick is going to be screaming. He's going to be spitting. He's going to be cussing. He might be biting my ear. He might, whatever it's going to be. And we don't care about anything except for keeping it. He might still be firing the gun. We want to get him to the ground. What we want the end result to be is Rick laying flat on the ground with his arms stretched out, and then we're going to take the gun away from him by prying his fingers off of it. But we want him on the ground, face down, stretched out. So once this is all happening, the rest of you are moving this way, not from the front, not approaching from the direction of the gun. And by use of your weight, you're going to put him down on the floor. Now, this area right here really helps if you do this. This is really violent, and this is really ugly, and this is disturbing. Even talking about it's disturbing for some of you. If it happens, it's really disturbing. And you have to get more violent than most of you are going to be comfortable getting. I mean, a few of you, no doubt, wouldn't have any issues with it, but you're going to have to fight violently to get this gun away from this person. Once you do that, you get the gun away from him. Now, I got his gun. They got him down on the floor. Somebody's already called the police. The police are showing up, hearing that somebody is shooting up the church. They're arriving at the scene of an active shooter, and they walk in, and they see somebody holding a gun. That is that's a real dangerous place for you to be. So, you get the gun, you put the gun out of sight, and you get it out of the room. You go into a classroom where there isn't anybody, and you wait in there until the police come there, and if you can find a bag or something to put it in, or a box or something, so that when they walk in, you're not holding a gun. If you're a concealed carrier and you took your weapon out to protect the church, remember, when the police get there, they don't know the good guys from the bad guys. If you're carrying a gun, you may get shot. So you have to be aware when they come in, they don't know what's in your head. They just know what's in your hand.